So Gears of War 3 came out in 2011, and now it's 5 years later, and we have Gears of War 4, and this is definitely a Gears title I really never expected to see. After Judgment, I really thought it was just done. You know, I didn't expect any more of this, but I'm really glad that they did continue on with it, and I think the Coalition so far has put together a pretty decent Gears of War, and it feels like Gears of War, which is something that is hard to say about games nowadays that are, remade over and over again, like Call of Duties, for example. So during the closed beta, we have gotten many new details on the mechanics of how the game works. The new game modes are going to be brought in, the new weapons, of course, and then how the maps are going to play out, over time, if we're going to get extra maps and things like that, the DLC. Of course, there's been a lot of Twitch streams about that, and then, of course, just playing the beta itself. So in this video, I wanted to go over all that with you guys and give you an idea of what to expect and what we know so far in the game, and what you guys, if you actually might want to pick this up when it comes out in October. But of course, don't take this as a full-fledged, we know everything kind of about the game yet. So let's just go over that real quick and let me know what you guys think by leaving a comment below on your opinion of the game so far as well. So I know I said I wanted to talk about new mechanics in the game, but something I wanted to address ahead of time was the fact that active reloads have always been in Gears of War, of course, we know this. And you can get perfect active reloads to get a little bit of a damage boost for basically any weapon. But what the devs decided to do for this game is change it up a bit, and they actually will allow you to get an active reload whenever you like, even if you haven't used any of your ammo yet. And I believe they're doing that to cater towards those hardcore players that used to like to run up the firefights and waste a bullet or two, and that actually those bullets can be, useful in the long run. You might need them in the end, because I have run out of ammo before. But of course, you need something to balance this. You can't be able to spam your active reload over and over again and have all the damage that you'd like. So what they decided to do was add a cooldown timer to every weapon, and each of these timers are a different amount of time depending on the weapon. I can tell you for sure that the Gnasher is, after you get the active reload, you have 8 seconds to deal extra damage with that ammo, and once that's gone away, you have an additional 4 seconds before you can actually perfect active reload again. So it's a total of 12 seconds in between each perfect active reload, which I find to be pretty acceptable. It's a decent amount of time in between. I really haven't seen any spamming issues with it yet. But of course, that's yet to see. Players always find a way to exploit games and make them easier for themselves. But as of this moment, I really do like it. And of course, every gun, like I said, has a different active cooldown time. I'm not sure what the other ones are. I haven't really tested them yet. But as of this moment, the active reload system works really well. Oh, and also to be able to notice if you can, in between that 12 seconds, can get the perfect again, you'll notice just to the right of the ammo that there's going to be a white bar, and that indicates you can get a perfect active at that time. But once it turns gray, you have to wait till it becomes white again, and that is an indication of the cooldown timer for you, just to let you know when you are allowed to get an active again. DLC within a game can also be a very interesting topic, because a lot of games nowadays just like to throw in that season pass. Buy the game now for $100, and you can get the season pass with it. $100 for a game is a lot. Like, that's basically what you pay for games nowadays, if not more, depending. Like, Battlefield games are even more sometimes. But what they decided to do with this game is a bit different. We know there's going to be microtransactions. I can give you that information right now. And what they decided to do is, once the game's released in October, we're going to come with a total of 10 maps. 9 of them are going to be brand new, 3 of which we're already seeing in the beta at this moment, and then the 10th one is going to be a remake of Gridlock, of course, because it's just a Gears staple. Now, over the next 12 months after it will be released, they're going to be bringing out 2 new maps each month, so it's going to be a total of 24 new maps, and these are going to be all free to the public. The catch, though, is that not all of these maps are going to be playable at the same time. I guess they're going to be putting them on a cycle, almost, I guess, seasonal. We're not sure how long they'll be able to be played at a certain time, or how many will be able to be played at a certain time. But what we know is let's say there's all 34 maps are out, you will not be able to play all 34 at the same time. However, if there is a map that you want to play whenever you want, you can purchase it, and this is where the microtransactions come into play. But the only problem is that map can only be played in private match, which is something that I don't quite understand why they would do that. I feel like it's going to deter people from actually buying it, because the private match system is just, not many people use it as much as they think. I think it'd be better off if they could create a map pack like playlist, just like Call of Duty does, like specifically the map packs itself, and maybe those people that have purchased it can play on that, because being a hardcore player, I would rather have all 34 maps. The more maps, the better. I encourage that. It just gives you more diversity, and it doesn't give you that. It doesn't create boredom when you're playing the game ever. The reason they want to do it this way is to cater to more of the casual gamers, because that's a lot of map layouts to know and to remember. You know, it can really deter your gameplay if you don't know where a power-up weapon is in this game. So that's the reason why, but they really do need to give us the option to play any of the maps that we like at any time, and I don't mind spending the money for that. So that's just my suggestion on what they should do on it, but I'm really glad that we're going to be getting free maps, I guess you could say, so at least you'll be able to get a taste of it before you purchase it ahead of time to see if you actually even like it. So something that really excited me that was more recently announced, I believe it was only 2 days ago on a Twitch stream for the Gears Season 2 event, they actually showed gameplay of a brand new game mode that we can expect from Gears of War 4, and this is called Escalation. Now I know you guys are probably aware that there was a map called Escalation, so it's kind of weird that they've named it the same thing, but it's whatever. It makes sense. The name makes sense for what the game mode is. So what this consists of is there's going to be 3 rings spread across the map, A, B, C, of course, whatever it may be. And of course, it's just like King of the Hill. You have to capture these. I guess you could say it's like closest to comparison to domination. Now, the objective score is to 210, which sounds a bit high, but when you have 2 rings captured, you gain points pretty quickly. The catch is here, if you capture all 3, you dominate the other team. I believe it's like if you dominate it for 3 seconds, you automatically win the game, even if you haven't reached the 210 mark. So this really gives you the aspect of the fact that you can't let your guard down. You have to always defend and at least keep that position, or the 2 positions if you're winning, of course. But there's also another twist to it. What they've decided to do is, at least in the gameplay, there was 13 rounds, so it was to the best of 7. But hopefully online it won't be considered that high. That's a long game to play. But the very first round of the game is going to consist of no power weapons, no grenades, no smokes, no any type of pistols, nothing, no boom shots on the field. So it's all up to your Lancer and Gnasher skill at that time. Now, whatever team wins that first round, for the next round, they get to pick any power-up weapon they want and put it somewhere on the field. Now, you can't take a boom shot and put it where bolt-talk pistols are and, create 2 of them. I believe that's only going to be able to be centered across the map like it normally would. But even if you're on a map that doesn't have, let's say, long shot, you can put it on there if you'd like. Now, this is going to continue going after each round. Whoever wins gets to pick another weapon, and of course, they don't have to pick a weapon if they don't choose to. And then about halfway through the game, of however many rounds it might be set at, the field is going to get wiped again, and you're basically going to start over with 0 power-up weapons, and you have to re-pick over and over again. Which makes sense, because that way you don't have the field hoarded with power-up weapons, halfway through the game. It kind of balances it out, and I think that's a good choice on their part. But also, there's one more aspect to it that can really make it competitive, and that's the fact that every round, your death counter, your respawn time, becomes longer and longer, and I think it can get up to 20 seconds if I'm not mistaken, but that is incredibly long. If you die and 20 seconds later you come back, that gives the enemy team plenty of time to go around and capture the position. So the longer the game goes on, it makes you value your life even more, which is what makes the competitive aspect to it really become a whole in this new game mode, because that's what this is based on. It is for the ESL players, the competitive esports, and those who just want a challenge within Gears itself. Now, I don't want to make this video go on too long, so I want to wrap it up with one more final thing, and that's going to be the weapons that are brand new within the game, and some of the weapons that they actually might have removed. Now, if you've played the beta at all, you've already noticed that there's a brand new weapon called the Dropshot. It's on all 3 of the maps, and this is basically the opposite of the Digger, which actually traveled underground and then popped up and killed you. This one will travel in the air, and the longer you hold the right trigger, the farther it'll go, and then when you let go of it, it immediately just shoots down into the ground and then kills anybody if they're nearby. It's a really cool weapon. I love the mechanics of it. It might be a little bit overpowered, at least in the beta. It does have quite a bit of spread. I've gotten some pretty distant kills with it before, but all in all, I do think it's a good weapon. But the only problem I find with it is a lot of people are talking about how they actually might remove the Digger to replace this weapon. And I loved the Digger in Gears of War 3. It was a really good weapon to use. You could just shoot it across underneath the ground, get it undercover and everything, and really push the enemy back. I hope they don't take it out. I know they're getting to the point where the power-up weapons are really getting spread thin of how many we have, so you can't really put too many on the map, of course, because then it becomes imbalanced. And then there's no shotgun gameplay or Lancer crossfire or anything like that anymore. Now, a Twitch streamer told this to me. I am not 100% sure if it's true, but he said ink grenades will not be in Gears of War 4, which doesn't make too much sense to me, but I mean, it's just an idea to keep in your head. But of course we have incendiaries still, he says, so hopefully we'll get them back. I don't really see inks as being overpowered. They're really good for situational purposes to help push an enemy team back or get them out of an objective and everything like that. Now, just like the one shot in Gears of War 3, we are going to be getting another heavy weapon in Gears 4, and this one is called the Buzzsaw. Now, of course, it's going to shoot circular buzzsaw blades at the enemy. We don't know how much ammo it will have or anything like that, but what we do know is that it can bounce back and kill you yourself. So if you're in a close quartered area, you definitely want to think twice about using this because it'll bounce around off the walls. You might get multiple kills, but you end up killing yourself as well. Another big thing people probably hated about Gears 3 was the Retro Lancer and Sawed-Off. Now, I'm sure some of you probably loved it, but being an original Gears player, I hated it. Now, we can confirm that the Retro Lancer is coming back, but it is basically an entirely new weapon. They have took back to the drawing boards and redone the way the weapon works. It's still going to look the same though, so expect a completely different gun with a retro skin on it basically. So hopefully it should work out to be a better weapon as a whole. Of course you can't play it in the beta, so we don't have any gameplay of it yet, unfortunately, but I think they're going to be able to make it a better weapon than it was in Gears 3. Now, the sawed-off shotgun is not coming back. We don't know if it's being replaced by anything or not yet. We might only have the Gnasher, but as of this moment, we know the sawed-off shotgun will not be in Gears 4. So guys, that is about everything I would like to say about Gears 4. Of course, there is a ton more information that I could really talk about, but this would be a 30-minute video, and I don't want to make you guys sit through all of that. But if you do have any questions, please comment below, and I usually have an answer for everything. I've really been keeping up with how this game is working, because I've always loved Gears as a kid, and it was something that I've always enjoyed. So seeing something, 10 years later after the beginning of the game, it brings back all these memories. So I want to appreciate any of you that stayed through and watched the entire video. I hope you got some information out of it that actually could help you with your buying decision, or if you're just someone that's on the fence about Gears in general. And I really do think it's going to be a good game. As of this point, it really makes me happy as a Gears player. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. And please stay tuned for more Gears of War videos, including the new characters, executions, and all that good stuff. Have a good day, everyone.